So you think Vladimir Putin's done? He's not done. He's like Bob. He's never gone. So on Wednesday, according to Mediaite, Russia expressed its concern for the treatment of ethnic Russians in another former Soviet territory, the Baltic state of Estonia. Disaster. Now, this is exactly what I had been warning about for a couple of days here. I thought he wouldn't really go past Crimea for a couple of different reasons in Ukraine, but since he picked off some territory from Georgia and then he picked off some territory from Ukraine, it was logical that he would then go to other Russian enclaves within other countries and go, oh, the Russian civilization, they're getting, the minorities are being discriminated against, they're not allowed to speak their language, yada, yada. And lo and behold, an anonymous Russian diplomat told the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva, because they care so much about human rights, that language should not be used to segregate and isolate groups. And then, in fact, that's what was happening in Estonia with the poor Russian minority in that country, and that perhaps some action needed to be taken. He went on to say Moscow was concerned by the steps taken in this regard in Estonia, as well as in Ukraine. How's that for a fairly clear reference to, remember what we did in Ukraine? Well, we could do it in Estonia too. Now, in Estonia, actually, they have a decent case that the Russian minority is somewhat abused. They're denied citizenship more often. Estonia did not take kindly to being included in the Soviet Union bloc, and so, unfortunately, they have been taking it out on the Russian minority a little bit. Now, does that give the Russians an excuse and a right to go into Estonia and take part of their land? No, of course not, right? Estonia should get better on human rights. There's no question about that. But if anything will motivate you on that count, it might be the Russian tanks across the border. And so, Putin isn't done yet. Now, here's one more wrinkle to this. Estonia has joined NATO. So the minute Putin steps 1 foot inside Estonia, it is the equivalent of declaring war on the United States. Oh boy. So now let's hope he's not that crazy and he doesn't go that far. Going into a NATO country would be a disastrous move. We would have to react, and we would have to react with significant consequences, perhaps even military consequences. So let's hope that Putin solidifies his gains and is happy with what he's got, but usually history tells us that that's not how things work out. So now, you know, a lot of people in America think, oh, well, the left, the liberals, the progressives, they never want war, they never want the military option or anything along those lines. Let me tell you something. If he goes a foot into Estonia, I would throw everything we got at him. I don't mean nukes, okay? I'm not Dick Cheney. I'm not that crazy Russian anchor. But I would do immediate crippling, every sanction there is that we have, I would do it. I would isolate them completely from the world economy, even at the great cost to Europe on gas prices, and even if we have to help Europe with gas prices, no matter what you do, but you cannot let him take any more territory, and you certainly can't let him take an inch of a country that is in NATO. So this thing does not end well if Putin thinks, hey, I got a lot of what I wanted, I can keep on taking. Because we've seen that movie before, and that movie does not end well.